Okay. Good evening. Today is February 17th. It is 7:30. Come on in, Anna. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Dear Lord, we're meeting here tonight to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon these activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. We thank you for being the source of our guidance tonight. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Lorraine is absent. Reed
Present.
Mathis
Here.
is present. Kessler is absent. Gopal
Here.
and Tucker is absent. You have 4 members present.
Okay, to the members of the audience tonight, this program, the speaker's really working good. Hi, Mr. Tucker.
How is it 1 minute every time? How is it 1 minute every time?
Well, this time I forgot my laptop when I left the office. I'll have to go back and get it.
To the members of the audience, this program is televised, 3 cameras, 1, 2, 3. You're welcome to come up and speak at the podium. If you do, please speak loud. You can give your name, you do not have to give your address. We will be opening it up. I'll ask for public comment. You're welcome to speak, and at the very end, it's public comment also. All right, it also is Charter, it's on Charter Communications Channel 191, so you can watch it if you have Charter Communications. It's on for 2 weeks. It's about every 4 hours. You're just going to, because the kids at the school share this program, television program, so you just have to check in on it. All right, approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? If none, we have a gentleman in the audience, and his name is Tom, and he's from AYSO, and he would like to speak in regards to it. So I can either put him in public comment at the end, or I can fit him in just report, no, not reports, communications maybe? I don't know, where do you want me to put him, Tom?
Choose your spot, Madam Supervisor.
Either communications or public comment would be fine.
Public comment, okay, at the very end, all right. We will be going into a closed session after the public comment. Okay, are there any questions regarding the, are there any questions regarding the agenda? Do you have anything else that you would like to amend? I need a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. As amended?
As amended. And seconded?
I support.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Included in the packet is February the 3rd special and regular meetings. Are there any corrections or request revisions to the meeting minutes?
I have a question on the special meeting minutes. Would it be appropriate, it seems that there was a proposal for the raise for Chief Voles, and standing alone, it looks like the percentage is pretty large. Could we add something to the minutes to state when his last pay adjustment was? I think that would add some clarification if someone from the public were to read these minutes, you know, without the context behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we can do that, certainly.
Thank you.
All right. All right, then the meeting minutes stand approved as amended. Expenditures, are there any questions regarding any of the invoices? I do have something, and I just don't understand it is all. I was reading through. We come down here, and one is Waldorf and Son, Lakeside Landing Pump. Tom, is that because the people hired Waldorf to do that pumping and get that when they had all the problems?
Yes, they have a special assessment to maintain a pump station that helps their drainage for their road.
In
And they
Waldorf.
hired Waldorf to maintain that pump station.
Okay.
So it's coming out of their funds, not the
All right,
township's.
and then the next one, Verizon, wireless service, 2 telephones. What is that about? I did read it, and it says, I did read that it's the clerk and the front office. Don't we get our phones free in our plan?
No. Well, this is just the monthly bill. That's not for phones, that's the monthly bill.
All right, so we're not buying any phones?
Not, well, we're looking at some options right now, but that bill is just for the monthly service.
Monthly service for these 2 phones?
Yes.
And it isn't free, our service? I mean, there's so many phones, because we all had phones at the very beginning.
Right.
And I thought there was a plan that you had so many phones listed on that it would be free.
Well, we're not, this is just paying for the monthly service. We're not paying for the phones
Okay, all
themselves.
right, then is it paying for, I'm not understanding. Is it paying for, each phone is 65 or 2 of them are 65?
No, the 2 combined are 65. It's the monthly bill for the 2 phones.
Is there anything extra on these phones
No.
compared to the phone like Bob has, or?
Mine's a flip phone.
Yeah, yours is a flip phone, mine was a
Yeah,
flip
the one
phone.
I'm
too.
Shows you how
Mine is
much
too.
extra I have.
Yeah, we're looking at upgrading a little bit because the girls would like to use the phone up front, at the front desk to text the deputies rather than, because some of them use their own phones and they shouldn't have to do that.
All
so.
right, but now, the only reason I say this is when you and I were looking into telephones for us, we ended up, anything that we needed, we bought our phones. And you and I both asked for, from the township, $20 a month to pay, because we pay, I've been supervisor for 18 years, and I have paid for a phone that I use solely for the township, and well, not solely, for my township and my family. But I did have a township phone, and I had said, I cannot carry 2 telephones around. I can't do it. So I used my own. So can you bring that back, that you would get $20 and I get 20?
The board can do anything they want, but they took that policy out a while ago.
No, but I know, but I don't understand why we're paying extra for 2 telephones.
Well, because the township is providing a phone for the front desk to use and one for the clerk to use.
No, I understand that, and I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But I'm saying, I'm the supervisor, if you pull my phone out, you cannot believe how many phone calls that I make through government daily. I mean, we never use a desk phone at all. And I've been paying out of my pocket 18 years of it. And I think if we're going to do this, then let's do it for you, clerk, treasurer, and supervisor.
If the board wants to reconsider that policy again, that can be brought up. The other option is that if you want the township to provide you a phone under this plan, that's an option. But yeah, then you'd.
No,
no, I understand. I
I'm
get
not
it.
going to, well, you were on it, you're the one
Yeah.
that first put you on it, and then you talked to me, and then we went on it. Then it came to a board meeting, and they said, oh, no, excuse me, we're not going to do that. You'll have to pay for everything yourself. So that's why I'm asking, if this is a service, why are we doing a service for 2 phones and we won't do it for the other few people?
Because the clerk and the front desk are using township phones. We're not reimbursing them
I
for
understand
personal
that, but
phones.
don't you understand what I'm saying?
I do. That's not my
Okay,
call. It's the
what I'm
board's
going to
call.
what I'm going to do, I mean, if I pulled up 18 years of telephone and I could pull up my screen right now, you would be shocked on how many phone calls that I make a month for the government. You know, and I've never in 30 years ever asked for a wage increase, and I was just asking, oh well, just, you know, it's just a thank you, Bonnie, for letting us use your telephone.
So do you want us to get you a phone?
No, I got my phone. I'll keep the phone. I
You just
just,
want to be reimbursed for the
for using
Township.
my phone.
Okay,
That's all.
okay.
So I'm not going to make the motion. If anybody would like to make a motion, they could.
Should we do that, or should we look into this? Because if there's one phone, I don't think we should consider just one phone. If that's happening across the board, we should reconsider how we're treating all of those phones.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So could we put this on the next agenda, and we can do some research?
I think it's a good
Tell you
idea.
what, I can make it simple.
Make it simple.
The gals up front need to be able to text the officers.
Sure.
I'll keep my flip phone.
I don't think that's necessary at all. That wasn't the purpose of this at all.
But that,
Bob, all they got to do is just work it.
I understand,
Let Mr.
but-
Tucker have a $20 bill at the end of the month.
Tucker doesn't want his $20.
Well, I'll
That's
be
how much
honest
my
with
entire
you.
bill is $20.
I think it's more the principle than anything now, after all these years. And I looked at my bill and it's absolutely ridiculous. Sure, I mean, I could give you every person that I call, road commission, drain commission, you name it. I don't use the telephone on the desk because I'm always on the go. The phone is always in my hand. So, all right, just forget it.
no, I started this when, in conversation with Tom and the gals up front, they talked about it's so much easier to text the officers that are on duty, because they get called, hey, can you get me an officer? And I told Tom, hey, if we're gonna get them a new phone,
I agree
I'd
with
have a
you.
prehistoric flip phone.
I totally
But I
agree.
have no problem, it's worked good for me for 18 years. So if truly believe they need a new phone.
They
So if
need
it
a new
helps,
phone because it's a
cancel-
bad
Cancel
reception.
mine.
I didn't
and
even
it's-
say
it's-
that, Bob.
No, I am. Let's do
No.
it that way.
I don't think so. I think I will take, I mean, you're not going to do it, so let's just let it go. I've done it all these years, I will continue it. But I was just trying to be fair with everybody. So anyway, is there any other expenditures that anybody is requesting? Mr. Tucker, do you have any?
No, I didn't see anything this week, but
You don't, did you say you don't?
yeah, I didn't
You
see
don't,
anything that
okay.
question.
Anyone
Not at all.
else? All right, a motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $407,047.30 for payment.
So moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mathis,
Yes.
Kessler's absent, Reed,
Yes.
Goebel.
Yes.
Lorraine is absent, Tucker.
Yes.
And because I started it, I'm gonna vote no, it still passes.
Communications, none. This is adoption of ordinances. Our detective sergeant's in the audience, and he's brought it to our attorney, Mr. Belcher's attention in regards to upgrading our ordinances, and the both of them are working on it, along with Mr. Broker now. And this one was the one for larceny, and it is in similar crimes. Mr. Belcher, would you like to give us some input in regards to it?
What-
And this is a first reading.
Right. What this is the introduction of this one ordinance as well as another one after this. And there's two ordinances. This one is larceny and it covers a variety of theft offenses. In large measure, it's just regurgitation of state law, so there's not anything real different from state law. And I can make whatever changes anybody wants to look at it, whether our sheriff's department representative wants something different, or any of the board members, but it's here for everybody to consider. Because what we have right now, everything is disorderly person. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're, whatever you do, you're a disorderly person, and that really does not reflect the real events that occur.
This is going to make it easier for the police officers and then also you.
Well,
and
I
trial.
don't know if it's gonna make it any easier for me. It gives a little more definition to the officers for what they're doing out there and puts us more in line with the rest of the world.
Good deal. Okay. Any public comment in regards to it? None? All right, the second reading, and we'll be voting on the adoption, will be conducted on our next meeting, which is March 2nd. The next proposed criminal offense ordinance is obstruction of justice. This is an introduction, and this is also the first reading. Mr. Belzer, would you like to explain that, please?
Sure. Again, what this is, and this really is not covered under the disorderly ordinance or anything else we have right now, but most everybody has ordinances or laws that makes it a crime to lie to police officers and do other things, disregarding a lawful order of a police officer, interfering with fire department personnel when they're out there putting out fires or trying to direct traffic at an accident. And so what this does, it gives us the option to do something under our ordinances instead of having to try and do state law, because as you talk to our sergeant here, he'll tell you that going downtown to the prosecutor's office for some of the smaller things takes forever and maybe nothing ever gets done. Whereas here we have a lot more control and speeds.
Good. Is there any public comment in regards to this? If not, the second reading again and vote will be on the adoption will be conducted on March 2nd meeting.
And I would encourage anybody, if you have any questions or comments about it, call me up.
Okay. We're in the process of updating quite a few of them. And so it's probably every other meeting or whatever you're going to see that we're adopting new ordinances. Unfinished business, none. New business, proposed Genesee County Road Commission local road agreement. This is Petts Road. Operation Manager Tom Broker, would you please give some additional information that is needed for this?
Yes. If you remember back to last year, we were notified that HUD had changed the map that identified low to moderate income areas in our township, which is the basis for using our community development block grant funding. And we had several small road improvement projects already approved in what used to be our low moderate area. Once the new map came out, those projects were no longer eligible, so those funds were left unallocated last year, which is not a problem. We still have time to spend them. So based on the new map, working with the township engineer and the road commission, the resurfacing of Petts Road was identified as a good suitable project to use that CDBG funding. And we can, using the CD funding as the township match, we can use our county allocation funds for most, maybe all, of the remainder of the project. Therefore, we would use very little and maybe no general fund money on the project. So there's a proposed agreement in here from the road commission. The estimated cost right now, I think, is $184. They're just splitting it down the middle. The total says $202, but the engineering and the inspection would be paid for by the county. So we'd be dividing the $184. We have a very specific amount. It's $92,639 or something like that in CD funds. And then, so whatever the difference is, we would make up with allocation funds and possibly some general funds. But the road commission has indicated they have several CDBG funded projects. They want to get those bid out now. And so they've asked us to approve this to move the project forward.
Is there any questions from the board?
Excuse my acronym ignorance. HMA resurfacing? 2-inch HMA?
Where are you seeing that?
The A is asphalt.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. That's okay. If you don't know.
Hot mix asphalt. I think that's what it is.
$5 on the table.
Tom, how often do they review the CBG area? For
It's
moderate
based on
to-
the census.
The
So
census.
it took them from 2010 till last year to decide that the area had moved. Well, actually, I think there were some updates, mid-decade updates, so it was probably from 15. But
Okay.
the HUD is based on census information.
All right. A motion to approve the local road agreement with Genesee County Road Commission for the resurfacing of Pitts Road as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mathis,
Yes.
Kestler's absent, I vote yes. Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine is absent, Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, the next one is Genesee County Road Commission cost proposal. This one happens to be for Margaret Drive Improvement Special Assessment District. Operation Manager Tom Broker, would you please explain?
Yes, when the board created the special assessment district at the last meeting, it was based on the mill and pave option that the road commission has provided. So in order to get that on the schedule, we need to approve the cost proposal that we used to come up with those numbers. Their total was $212,070.08. Once the board approves it, then it'll be scheduled and completed, and then we'll be billed the actual cost. So until we have the actual cost, we won't be able to create the special assessment roll. And then once that is done and confirmed, then we can get the financing in place. What we may end up doing, I've talked to the bond council already, because of the timing, we may front the money from the township and then repay ourselves from the bond proceeds if the timing requires. That's perfectly acceptable. And then there's an outside chance we might be able to combine it with another project bond issue, or Silver Ridge is going out for bids, I think, this week.
Silver Ridges?
So that's what they're telling me. That's
Okay,
a
they
that's-
called the other
it's
day.
a bigger project, but, so we'll have to see. But in the meantime, I would recommend we approve the cost proposal so we can get it on the schedule and get moving.
Any other questions from the board?
What's the per unit charge roughly going to be?
About 2,000, roughly.
What's your guesstimate of the percentage of people that's just going to write the check?
25%.
We got room to float the rest of it?
I can look at that, if possible.
It's a small enough number, I'd just look at it anyway.
Okay. That would simplify it.
That's what I'm here for.
Then we would set the interest rate on that then.
Right.
If that's the case.
Right.
So, okay. We'll,
All right,
Run some
any
cash
other
flows.
board discussion? I need a motion to approve Genesee County Road Commission cost proposal for the milling and resurfacing of Margaret Drive as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Mathis,
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
and Kestler's absent, motion passes.
All right, in your packet, now the next is a letter of resignation from Fenton Township Fire Department. In your packet is a resignation from a fireman, and I believe his name is Craig Middleton. And the letter says that he, please accept my letter as my formal resignation for my position as firefighter, MFR/search and rescue diver at Fenton Township, effectively immediately. So, is there any board discussion in regards to this? You hate to lose them.
Do we know why?
Moving up north.
That's for good reason.
One question, do we have a signed copy of this,
Signed copy of what?
of the resignation?
I don't know. That would be your fire committee would know that.
Well, it wasn't brought to, I just don't want it to come back to haunt us.
I think an email is sufficient, isn't it? Or does it need to
The
be?
email is signed.
The email is signed?
Well, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I just looked at it and
And you're right, Bob, it's not signed.
No, it is signed. It's,
yeah,
Oh,
it's
my
an
God.
email. I didn't pick up it was an email.
yeah,
My fault.
no worries.
All right, I need a motion to accept the resignation of Craig Middleton from the Fenton Township Fire Department effective immediately.
Move the motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kessler is absent. I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine is absent. Mathis,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, board comments. Are there any other comments from the members of the board? I will now open it up for public comments on agenda and non-agenda items. Tom, would you like to come up, or anyone else in the audience?
Tom Wiltrot, I'm the Assistant Section Director for AYSO for the Section 8, which is, again, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. Would like, first off, I'd like to thank the board for helping us out trying to move this along up at Deer Run. I still have some concerns, so I'm not asking you to do anything tonight. As of this past Thursday, which we've been having meetings with Southern Lakes. Past Thursday, the 4 organizations got together and we're still negotiating through all of this. There's a lot to get through in a short amount of time. Unfortunately, we've had to put a deadline on this because while you helped us out with the county to move the deadline, or the transition date to, I believe it's July 1st roughly, that gets us through the spring season. We're already starting to plan for the fall season. So I need some answers relatively quickly if I have to move 400 kids somewhere else. So we asked both the Nationals and La Forza, and they all came up with the same date, and that is the 1st of March. We have to have an answer. Now, like I said, we've been having virtually weekly meetings with Southern Lakes, so I mean, it's moving. I'm not saying anybody's doing a bad job. There's just a lot to get done in a short amount of time. In my opinion, and please take it as that, simply put, the big picture is currently we have 2 organizations, soccer organizations, using the complex. The desire is to have 3. Currently, we are self-managed primarily through AYSO, and with the help of the Nationals. Obviously, the desire now is to go to the management company SLPR. The SLPR management team is holding meetings on a regular basis. I mean, that's a good thing. The communication seems to be a bit uneven. And what I mean by that is sometimes some of the organizations get the information, sometimes the others don't. Which means when we walk into a meeting, some organizations are behind, and it isn't necessarily always the same one, so that becomes a problem. Not your problem. I brought it up with Southern Lakes. In this proposal that Southern Lakes has put out there, they would like us to create a board with representatives from each one of the soccer communities and themselves. Basically 2 from each one, which unfortunately makes 8 members, and if we have a tie, we have a problem. So we're still talking through that. This board would be responsible for creating the rules, costs, finances, general schedule information. There's a lot of things they want done, but they want these people to do it. Basically, my group and Nationals and La Forza to do. I would have thought that they would have been more involved in that. But like I said, we're helping as best we can. They would like a site coordinator, somebody that's there. I asked them, I said, do you understand what that means? Because that person would virtually have to be there from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, most days, and they're only looking at paying $15,000. I wouldn't do it for $15,000. And the responsibilities right now are TBD for the board to decide. SLPR also did create an initial list of rules, ideas, which I thought was great. It was a start, but I was very concerned when the third one was, let's change the name of the complex. I'm thinking, why are we worried about the name of the complex? We've got so much more to worry about. So the priority worried me.
Tom, may I ask you the name of the soccer fields? Deer Park?
No.
What is it?
They want it to change to Southern Lakes Soccer Park.
Oh.
Yeah, the words Deer Run would go away. And like I said,
Okay.
They did go out and get one quote from an outside company that would do the fields for us as far as mowing, fertilizing, marking, the whole bit. If I look at the numbers for that, the annual cost for that's almost $70,000. I'm hoping we can find a better place to do that because we don't pay anywhere close to that right now. Now, down to brass tacks. I'm a businessman or was a businessman. Based again on last Thursday's meeting, we can work out a rough estimate on and calculate what I refer to as field cost per player for each organization. Currently, AOASO, because obviously I know that number, is we pay $50 a year. Each kid pays $50 a year for all the field maintenance for us. Nationals is about double that. I don't know what LaForce is. I just don't know them as well as the other groups. With this new proposal and these additions and things like that, AOASO would see an increase of more than 60%. We'd go from $50 to over $80. In addition, Nationals would see an increase of more than 100% to their number. I can't tell you what LaForce's is because I don't know what their initial number was.
Yes.
Now, the other thing that concerns me is not only do we see an increase in the cost, field cost per player per year, each group would see less field time, less fields for all the organizations. So I'm getting less and paying a lot more. So I'm concerned. But that's where things are at right now. I need some answers relatively quick to get moving, or otherwise my decision is already made. So I wanted to bring you up to speed on where things are at. If you've got any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Christine, if I said who is running the soccer field right now, would it be Southern Lakes?
No.
No. Nobody has.
No, they're still the same.
AOASO's got, we still
They
got
have it
them
till
till July
July
1st.
Yeah, all right, I realize that. Yeah, I said it wrong.
Yep.
All right, they have it now.
Absolutely.
And then after July 1st, we don't know who's going to take it, right?
It's up to us
Correct.
to give it to.
It's up to the
It's
county
up to the
parks.
county. It'll be out of the hands of the.
Yeah, we won't have it anymore.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, we're trying to wash our hands of all this.
Absolutely.
Right. Tom, you mentioned that you would be paying more and getting less time. Is there less time because they're going to bring another association in?
Yes.
So would you wouldn't be able to play the same number of games and practices there? Is that what you're saying?
I think people were worried that there's a couple of concerns here, and I'll address your answer. The answer is yes, bringing the third group in, and they're bringing roughly everybody's got between 350 and 400 players, okay? So you're bringing another group in. They thought there would be a problem scheduling. Honestly, no, we figured it out. There's a concern, though, that if you use the fields too much, you burn them out.
Sure.
And you kill the fields, then all of a sudden, now how do you maintain them? Well, you can't. So the fields have to take some rest. Do we have enough rest in there? We don't know. There's still a question on what do you do about when somebody comes in and we have somebody has a huge weekend tournament. I mean, do you pay extra for that? That hasn't been answered yet. So there's concerns there. Right now, I can tell you right now, AOASO loves to go up there. I mean, during the week, if one of the coaches just wants to practice, you just wander up there and play. Well, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. So you're going to have to find other places to practice. So.
Well, it seems like there could be some provision, and I haven't seen all these details, but it seems like there could be some provision whereby you could request that extra time unless it's set aside as rest time for the fields.
That has to be looked at. Like I said, we're still working through that.
There's a lot of details to work.
But you know, we've kind of blocked out certain time blocks for each one of the groups, so everybody can for sure get their games done.
Right. Right.
Do we have enough time for practices? I don't know. I think, but I don't know. What about the travel team's tryouts? By the United States Soccer Federation, they've only got one weekend to do it. Well, you've got two big groups that are going to want to come in and use all the fields. How's that going to work? We don't know.
My grandchildren played for the last 2 years in those fields. And I've gone and sat in the, watching them for 2 years. There's empty fields. Now, I know what you're saying about the mowing and keeping it, keep it growing and just like a golf course and stuff. But I've seen those fields empty for a long time, the same exact fields.
True statement. but you're now bringing 400 more kids in.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I think I don't understand why we cannot just get together, 4 organizations, put down what we expect to have done, how many children we're going to do, how much it's going to cost, and get it done. I mean, I know there's other things that have to be done in that field. I know the bathrooms. You know, nobody's talking about the bathrooms. You've got to have bathrooms for these kids. They're there all day long with their families. Now, if we're going to bring porta potties in, that's another thing. But I agree with you as far as the name goes, forget it. We got to get this thing organized. And we're going to have children upset. But I don't know how you're going to do it if we can't do it, you know?
Let me ask you a blunt question, Tom.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm thinking of how I'm going to answer. If we lease that property, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, if the township leased the property and everything stayed the way it is, with the exception of getting La Forza and Nationals and AYSO playing there, would that work out?
It is my opinion, yes.
All we can go by, bud.
My opinion, yes, I could do that. I mean, seriously, after last Thursday's meeting, we sat, La Forza, Nationals, and AYSO sat down with a rough guess of what we needed, and within 15 minutes, we figured out, we blocked time so everybody had game time.
Okay, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking, right now we have the Nationals and AYSO, and the big impactor is La Forza, which is going to bring 400 more, give or take,
Yep.
kids to play.
Yes. We figured out a schedule, bring them right in, no problem. We can do it.
Okay, so is the big problem the expense of maintaining the fields that seems to be the hinder, Tom?
In my opinion,
Yep.
from what I know, is I believe right now you're subleasing to AYSO for, I believe, $1 a year or something like that. It's ridiculously
We
low.
haven't done any, yeah, I think.
We don't.
It's next to nothing, okay?
Yeah.
So let's call it zero for lack of making things easy for me too, okay? We do everything anyway, so we're on the bottom end, the entry end of the community. We have to do everything as inexpensively as possible to bring the kids in. We want as many kids as possible, okay? So to cut our costs, we're a volunteer organization. You know, for what I do, and even though I travel all over the country, they just pay me just to get there and back. I get nothing. I don't make a nickel. I'm not getting a nickel for tonight. I don't get travel money. I don't get gas money, nothing like that. I don't care. I love the kids. Can I do this? The bottom line is I'm paying nothing now, and now I'm going to end up paying in the ballpark of $35,000 maintenance fees to pay Southern Lakes and their coordinator and their administrative fees. I'm talking to the Nationals. I was talking to one of the gals at lunchtime today. It's going to cost them somewhere in the ballpark of $45,000. And they're paying, well, they're piggybacking off us right now. So their field maintenance is next to nothing right now too.
Now, has Southern Lakes Park and Rec given figures? Because they told us that they would be able to do it a lot less because they have all the equipment
Well,
and.
Southern Lakes cannot do it less than
No.
volunteers.
That's the thing.
However, I think the discussion between the 3 groups in Southern Lakes might be, if all of these parents for all of these years have been willing to chip in and volunteer to do some of the work, is that discussion on the table now? I mean, are people still willing to volunteer?
Not as much.
I can't speak for the other organizations, my problem. AYSO, the answer is yes. That's expected out of us. But I can also tell you right now, generationally, things are harder to find volunteers.
Yeah.
I grew up with a sense of community. I give my time all the time to the community. I think it's my responsibility as a civic person. But I'm finding it harder and harder to find those people. Now, so do I go out and pay for it? Yeah, I can, but now all of a sudden my expenses go up.
Right.
And I'm
Well,
up disproportionately because, like I said, I'm very cost sensitive because I'm bringing entry-level kids just to get them started in the game of soccer. And then in theory, and in reality, I'll be point blank here, again blunt, quite often the travel leagues pick my kids off if they find some that are good.
Sure.
That's fine. I'll make more.
Well, I sit on the board of Southern Lakes Parks and Recreation, and I can tell you that we have, as a board, we have not gotten a full detailed proposal. We've had conversations.
Absolutely.
As you know, there's an operations committee that you've been meeting with, and that operations committee will be bringing a proposal to the full board when they've gathered enough information. And we'll make a decision at that time whether Southern Lakes even wants to take on the lease from the county if it's feasible.
Totally understand. And like I said, I'm not going to say anything bad about Southern Lakes. I mean, they're trying.
Right, and it sounds like these are things that can be worked out, and maybe it's worked out with a combination of, if it's going to be too expensive, that there is a volunteer component. Maybe each group commits X number of hours, and whether they get that from parents or they pay the supplement instead. I know I had a travel hockey player, and we would set up things for the boys even to go and volunteer, and the parents to volunteer, and you would have some families who would say, we're too busy, can't I just write a check?
That hasn't changed.
There is a combination there, I understand that.
But if you listen to the people...
But I think it can be worked out.
If you listen to the people who we're talking with at Southern Lakes right now, and again, I'm not bad-mouthing them, they're trying, they really are. Their idea is, okay, maybe volunteers, but then they kind of, that's a pain. Maybe we can find some grants, we can find 5,000 here, 10,000 there, and it's like, okay, that's wonderful, but am I going to have that in time? Am I going to have that in perpetuity? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know.
And everybody else is fighting for those same
guarantees
dollars.
on that.
So your next meeting, you said, Christine, was?
The next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, the 27th.
And held at where?
February 27th. It's at the Fenton Community and Civic
Community Center?
Yep.
Okay.
I won't be there. I'll be in Chicago, so I'm in a training. I'm doing training.
I wish it was a simple, what about Barry June from Genesee County Parks and Rec? Does he say anything at all in regards to this?
I don't know, has the
I haven't seen
county been
anybody from the
involved in
county.
these meetings? No.
When I was talking about Southern Lakes, I meant Genesee County Parks and Rec, because they have all the equipment and they take care of, Byron Park and all that. So that's what I was thinking. So have they backed out, the county?
That I am not aware of.
Tom, do you know?
Well, they own the property. They agreed to extend our license. And
To them, would they take it?
through June, but that's the extent of it. I think, they've indicated they would work with Southern Lakes. They won't license it to a private organization.
No, I know that.
So,
Okay.
I think they're willing to do that. I think they're just waiting for indication that they're ready for it.
Somebody's got to get working hard to get this thing going.
Yeah, I'm just scared to death that if the numbers don't add up, I got to pull my kids out of there. We got to go find homes. I got some ideas, but I prefer not to use them.
Sure.
And if we pull out, then the cost for the two other organizations goes up.
Right.
Can then they afford it?
Yeah.
I can't answer that question for them. I'm doubting it. And then I don't want that nice complex to be nothing but a bunch of weeds.
Yeah, that would not be good.
No,
Yeah.
not for anybody. And the reason I'm really bringing it here is I want you to be aware of what's going on because, doggone well, you're going to get the backlash if something goes bad. Whether you deserve it or not has nothing to do with it. Somebody's going to call here and say, hey, listen, this happened. Whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. To them, at least.
Well, the
To me,
one
it
thing
does.
we do need, and Christine said it, we need to see what the budget was to even try to organize an organization and get it going. And that has been the problem forever. It's been asked for and not received. And you have to have a previous budget to figure it. Well, you don't have to, but it sure helps when you're trying to figure
Absolutely
out
does.
a new budget.
And like I said, I have no clue what the LaForza budget is, and I don't need to know their budget, but like I said, I'm looking at what my kids, by increasing what I have to charge the kids by $10, I'm going to lose about 10% of my players. Do I really want to do that? I lose 40 kids.
All right, let me ask you this.
Yes, ma'am.
Your AYSO and Amy Conover?
Converse.
Converse is AYSO. Who manages what?
Okay, the way we're set up, the smallest organization we have is called a region, and that's typically cities. Amy is the regional commission for Fenton and Linden. So she is the highest up in your area. The next area up is referred to as the region. It's basically the county. Dave Witter, who's been here before, is the area director. He lives up in the Grand Blanc area.
Mundy Township.
Mundy Township. Okay. The next one up is the section. I'm part of the section staff. I'm in charge of Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. I happen to live in Flushing. That's why I'm close by here. So, and then the next level from that is the Nationals, which our headquarters are in California.
What do we do, Jay? Seriously,
Well,
you've had this happen
you know,
probably.
you have a whole bunch of issues here.
I know
One,
it.
it's the county property, and if they leased it back to the township, you have a lot of issues about just leasing it for $1 to some organization. And I would not, in a legal sense, recommend that.
The only disagreement I would have there, you've done it for 25 years.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I understand is why it was done that way is because there wasn't a Parks and Recreation at the time to put it under.
Well, I don't know why it was done, but the problem is if you pick one
I was
organization.
shocked to find out it was done. Yeah.
You know, what, do you have to get another park for the baseball teams, another one for the football teams, another one for this rally or that? I mean, it's just,
You're right.
yeah.
Right, this board needs to get, this board from the township perspective needs to get out of that
Yes.
business.
Absolutely.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not coming here asking to do anything. I wanted to explain to you what's going on, that I'm worried about this, I'm still concerned about it, I wanted to give an update. Like I said, you're gonna get the blowback, I know it, because you have been. Not that you deserve it, because you don't, but you're gonna get it.
But that's okay, we got it, we've been getting it. We can.
I understand, but I thought I'd give you a heads up of where
Yes.
my opinion where things are at. I can't tell you anybody's doing something terrible, they're not cooperating, everybody's working at it. It's just because it's such a massive problem trying to do all this, and we've got to do it in such a quick time.
Well,
I don't see it being done.
all right. Well, Tom, I appreciate you coming,
Thank you for your
expressing your
time.
feelings to the board, and I've got to go into closed session.
Thank you.
So, to the people in the audience, sir, did you want to say something? No? No. Okay. You're welcome to if you want to. All right. I'm going to have to go into closed session, so I'm going to have to ask everyone, please leave. And I need a motion, people, to recess the open meeting for the purpose of convening a closed session to discuss proposed letter of agreement to revise the Fenton Township Employee Union Collective Bargaining Agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Mark, whatever.
You got some papers.
Do we do a GoFundMe page so the detective can have a real sweatshirt?
It's $2.99.
I'm glad to find out
Thanks,
you live
Tom.
in Flushing, man, because I knew you were kind of Midwest, and I'm like, man, I hope he ain't driving from Indiana or something.
No.
No, not too bad.
Thank you, Tom.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Good night.
All right. Do I have a motion, people?
Yes.
We get the motion and
Second?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Tucker,
We are.
Yes.
Okay.
Lorraine is absent. Gopel?
Yes.
Kessler's absent. Reed?
Yes.
Mathis?
Yes.
I vote yes.
We are now in closed session.